Okay, today I originally was going to do a video about fasting, and I'm still going to do that video, but I want to talk about something crazy that happened last week, which is that somebody assassinated the CEO of Unitedhealthcare in the US, okay? Now, first of all, before I start, I just want to say I absolutely do not condone his actions, and I do not agree with it, but a lot of people online are calling him a hero. And to understand why this happened, it has a lot to do with the stock price of Unitedhealthcare. Now, if you look at this chart, Unitedhealthcare's stock price has gone up almost 30-fold since 2009, okay? So it's gone up 3,000% in 15 years, okay? That performance is as good as NVIDIA in the last 5 years. And NVIDIA right now, if you don't know, is the AI hardware equipment maker. They make AI chips. It is the hottest stock in the world right now, and NVIDIA has gone from just a very unknown company to being the second biggest company in the world, right after Apple, and it might overtake Apple in terms of market capitalization, okay? But Unitedhealthcare has the 9th highest revenue out of any company in the world, and they cover health insurance in the US, okay? So why did this incident happen last week? Now, the shooter has been caught now, apparently caught, okay? The police think they have the suspect, and whoever did the shooting put on the bullet casings, deny, defend, and depose, okay? And basically that is industry term, meaning basically don't pay out for people who actually need medical services, okay, despite the fact that they've paid their insurance premium, but find reasons not to actually pay for expensive medical bills. And that's part of the reason why Unitedhealthcare's stock price has gone up 30-fold, all right? Has the US population gone up 30-fold? No. The reason why the profit has gone up so much to justify the stock price is because they're using practices, highly unethical practices, to basically maximize their profit and deny claims for people who actually need serious medical treatment. And people suspect that the shooter's family member died, and as a result, he got the motive to commit this crime. And this ties into all the other things that I'm trying to do in this channel, which is educate my friends and other people who are watching about how a lot of the actual current medical treatments that are accepted by the industry are actually not the best treatment for many chronic diseases, okay? Now, if you get in a car accident or you get an infection, okay, if you get an acute disease, okay, or basically a short-term, very serious disease, then yes, absolutely, medicine is, the medical treatments are the best way to deal with it. But with a lot of chronic diseases, the reason why people get them is because of dietary, eating the wrong diet or having the wrong lifestyle, okay? A lot of people think that they get sick because they somehow just had bad luck and they came down with something, or down to their genetics, okay? Now, there is genetic deep predisposition for getting certain diseases, but it doesn't mean that if a person gets a disease that he or she just got it from bad luck. It is because of something that they've eaten, which is not optimal, or they're lacking in nutrients, or their lifestyle, right? And how does Unitedhealthcare tie into all of this? Well, the whole system in the US regarding healthcare is absolutely corrupt. Now, as I mentioned in the previous video, the healthcare spending in the US in 2022 was $4.5 trillion US dollars, okay? More than 5 times the US defense budget, like the biggest military in the world. It takes up almost 20% of their GDP, okay? So like $1 in $5 that anyone makes goes into healthcare. And the whole system is being propped up because the healthcare insurance industry works along with the hospitals and with the pharmaceutical companies in the cohort to basically try to maximize profits for all these industries that are linked to the healthcare industry, all right? And I've already talked about how the insurance industry tries to deny claims even though people get seriously sick, okay? And there's no free healthcare in the US for serious diseases. So if somebody gets something like cancer, they can well die. And cancer treatment in the US can easily cost up to $300,000 US, okay? And with regards to the pharmaceutical industry, they keep, for the last 25 years, all right, they've constantly produced misleading studies, okay, trying to justify the use of certain drugs or medical treatments that greatly boost their revenue, which are not the actual optimal treatment, okay? And in this video, I want to talk about fasting because of how it is tied into cancer and how I personally think, after looking at all the studies and the research and the expert opinions, that some of the cancer treatments used to treat cancer are not the optimal treatments, okay? Now, basically, everyone's heard of chemotherapy. Now, chemotherapy is very useful in shrinking a tumor to a certain size and then get that tumor surgically removed, okay? So chemotherapy is very useful, and obviously surgery is important to remove the tumor. However, in my opinion, after looking at all the research and hearing everyone, cancer experts and scientists talk about it, radiation therapy is absolutely detrimental to a person's health because it totally destroys the healthy cells and it damages the DNA of the cells, okay? So the radiation therapy might kill the cancer cells, but in effect, it's kind of killing the patient. And it is part of the reason why so many patients die despite getting cancer treatment. And that's just my opinion, okay? I am not recommending any medical treatment in this video. I am not a doctor, and it is just from all the research I've done, a much better way of actually treating cancer and it's free. That is why nobody even knows about it. In fact, they might have already a cure for cancer, basically, all right? And it's based on the work of this guy, Thomas Seyfried, who's a scientist, and he's done research in the last few years, basically proving that cancer is not just a disease of the nucleus of the cell where all the DNA is housed, because a lot of people think it is only damage to the DNA which causes cancer. He's proven that the mitochondria, which is the power engine, what produces all the energy for the cell, which produces the ATP for the cell, that causes cancer when it goes into metabolic dysfunction as a result of basically the wrong diet, okay? And he proved that because he transplanted mitochondria from a cancer cell into a healthy cell, and then the healthy cell became a cancerous cell from the mitochondria transplant, and not just from a nucleus transplant into a healthy cell, okay? So the cancer's been spreading because of damage to the mitochondria of the cells in the body. And what damages the mitochondria in the body is basically a lot of the diet that a lot of people are eating, okay? Basically, human beings were not meant to eat such a high carbohydrate diet. That only came about in the last 10,000 years as a result of agriculture. And in certain tribes, they didn't even eat agricultural goods until they were introduced to Western diets because Western powers took over their countries. And we were meant to be hunter-gatherers eating a very high meat-based diet. And cancer cells feed off sugar specifically, but carbohydrates, because glucose is a fuel source for cancer cells under a metabolic pathway called glycolysis, which is anaerobic respiration. Okay, so basically when a cell becomes cancerous, it requires anaerobic respiration to produce this energy compared to aerobic respiration from healthy cells, usually, okay? And its main fuel source is glucose, which is from carbohydrates. So if you cut out all carbohydrates, then the cancer cells is starved of the glucose, and then it'll die, or it won't proliferate anymore, and slowly over time the tumor will decrease in size, according to Thomas Seyfried, okay, his research. So there's two ways of how to cut out glucose from your system. One is to eat a very low carbohydrate diet, basically a ketogenic diet or a carnivore diet, okay? But you want to get your ketone level up very high and your glucose level very low. And according to Thomas Seyfried, the way to do that is to get glucose, the level of glucose in the blood below 2 times the amount of ketones in the blood, okay, which is, ketones is what is produced when a person burns their own body fat, okay. When the glucose is very, very suppressed and the ketone level goes up and the cells start using ketones for fuel rather than glucose, then the cancer cells are starved of energy, while healthy cells can still maintain their function. In fact, ketones are a much better fuel source for cells because they are more stable energy than glucose. And normally people know that. And the second way of getting the glucose level down significantly and ketone levels up is just to do fasting, okay? But you can't just do short-term fasting like intermittent fasting. It's not long enough to get the glucose level low enough because it starts dropping a bit and the body goes into a bit of ketosis, but then the person eats again and then the glucose level will go back up. To get significantly lower glucose levels and ketone levels way up, you have to do at least a 3-day, 72-hour fast, okay? And which is what I've just started. Okay, I'm 16 hours into not eating, which is the typical not eating window for an intermittent fast that a lot of people do, but it's not enough to treat cancer. And you can measure the glucose and ketone levels by buying something called a Keto Mojo. I didn't get the same brand because in Taiwan there's restrictions for that brand. But basically I did a reading after 16 hours and this is my glucose levels, which is still pretty normal. It hadn't dropped at all. So just doing a 16-hour intermittent fast does not drop it enough, although my ketone level had already started to climb from basically zero, okay? And the readings are different because you have to multiply the ketone reading by 18 times to get the same reading as the glucose reading because they're based on different measurements, kind of like difference between kilograms and pounds, okay? You have to do a conversion, all right? So basically, that's what I wanted my friends to know because, you know, I've just known so many people who've gotten cancer and there's much better ways to treat cancer, which is free, which is why it is not advertised on media because the pharmaceutical companies have a relationship with the media companies as well. This should be absolutely advertised worldwide and people should know that they have an option to basically just not eat for 3 to 4 days and they can kill off their cancer cells and significantly lower their cancer risk. But because it is free treatment, it is not advertised at all because the healthcare industry in the US really dominates and influences the healthcare industry around the world, even though there's free healthcare in other countries. And so people have to pursue expensive treatment in the US and the government has to fund expensive treatment for cancer in free healthcare systems, okay? So for me, I'm going to now not eat for at least 3 days, probably 4, in order to get my glucose levels less than double my ketone level, all right? So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel because in the next video, I'm going to report basically what I've done by lowering my glucose level and upping my ketone level to a level which is basically kills off cancer cells. And I will spend more time explaining in more detail Thomas Seyfried's research so that you can understand it and then make a decision for yourself whether you want to keep pursuing medical treatments such as radiation therapy, which is very, very harmful to the entire body, or to use method which is free and much less damaging to your body. Okay, all right, so make sure to follow the channel and stay tuned for the next video.